Hi, this is Dan Whitney with the Whitney Law Firm in Towson, Maryland. Today we're going to talk about the issue of car dealers selling a car and not providing the title. So I've represented many consumers in Maryland who have purchased a car and the dealer either does not provide the title or takes months and months to provide the title in violation of Maryland rules and administrative regulations. So what often happens is a car dealership will sell a car, but they don't have the title. Perhaps the lien has not been paid off from when they bought it at auction or when it was traded in, or some other issue. Now, a specific case that I want to talk about today is a recent one, and this involves a husband and wife who came to Maryland from out of state and they bought a car. And fast forward 2.5 years, the dealership never provided the title. And this is a large dealership with approximately 20 different stores who certainly should know better and certainly has the capability of fixing a problem like this, which begs the question, why did they not fix it? So what happens is this. This family comes up from out of state, they buy a car, it's a used vehicle. They're given a 60-day temp tag, the temp tag expires. They call the dealership, the dealer issues a 30-day tag. The 30-day tag expires. So the husband starts to call the dealership, and over 2.5 years he calls dozens of times. And towards the beginning of this problem, he calls and he says, listen, I haven't got my registration yet, I can't legally drive this vehicle, can you please fix the problem? And they say, we haven't sent you the title and registered the vehicle yet in your state because you owe us $3,000. We gave you too much of a credit due to your military service, but we actually shouldn't have given it to you. And bottom line, you got to pay $3,000 more. And he says, you know what? I don't think that's fair, but I need this car registered. My family uses it. Fine. Cuts a check, sends it to the dealership. They never cash the check. So he calls and he says, listen, I sent you a check for $3,000. It was never cashed. What's going on? My car needs to be registered. And they say, actually, we have no record of your deal in our records. And he says, well, that's crazy because I owe the bank money every month now, about $500 a month, and you guys got paid on this. The bank has told me that, so I know you have a copy of my file. We don't have a copy. So, okay. So he keeps calling, and different managers tell him that he'll look into this, until finally in December of 2020, he calls and he speaks with somebody. He says, look, it's been about 2 years now. I don't have my title. My wife actually was driving the vehicle on the expired temp tags, and she got pulled over and she got a ticket. So this is a huge problem now. Please help. And they actually tell him, we are not going to do anything else involving your vehicle. They simply wash their hands of it as if that's something they're legally allowed to do. But keep in mind, dealerships are very often unlawful places, and they do whatever they think they can do that they can get away with. That's largely how they operate, especially here in Maryland. So what happens next? Well, after she got pulled over in the vehicle, they actually had to buy another vehicle. So now they've got 2 car payments and 2 insurance payments because they needed to be able to transport their family without fear of being pulled over, ticketed, and or arrested for driving an unregistered vehicle. So after they're told by the dealership, look, we're just not going to do anything else, they end up calling my office, take their case, file a lawsuit, and of course within about 2 weeks, the lawyer for the dealer reaches out and says, hey, we have the title, this was a mistake, can't we just get this done? And of course, say, well, if you have the title now, why didn't you have it when they called dozens of times? None of this sounds right. Why did your client just bury his head in the sand and not do anything right and not help these people? And of course, as the case goes on, we will get those answers. My guess is that it's because the dealer would rather spend its time sending signing up new customers as opposed to dealing with a problem on which they're not going to make any money. Because of course, money is what makes a dealership tick. So in this case, we have filed a lawsuit against the dealership for not providing the title. The causes of action include Consumer Protection Act, negligence, fraud, and unjust enrichment, because of course the client is paying for something, the dealership has received money, for a product which it never should have sold, and to which the clients were actually never able to purchase because they never got the title. In other words, they've been making payments on something they don't own, and up to this point they don't own, and that's not what is supposed to happen when you buy a car. So if you have found yourself in the unfortunate circumstance of buying a car and the dealer has either never provided the title or provided it months late, you may very well be entitled to compensation, including both your actual damages, meaning money you've paid while you can't use the car, and potentially damages for your emotional distress, which is the stress and anxiety of the situation. If this happened to you in Maryland, please feel free to call me, Dan Whitney, at the Whitney Law Firm, or go to our website, www.whitneyfirm.com, and I'm happy to offer a free consultation. I'll review whatever documents you have, and we'll discuss what your options are as far as holding the dealership responsible and getting the vehicle registered and getting you the title. I hope this video has been helpful. You should know if this happens to you, you have many options. You're not stuck, even though it might seem like it when a dealer ignores you. If you'd like to see any more videos on the subject of when the dealer doesn't provide the title or related issues, please just leave a comment, and I'd be happy to make a video on other topics if it would be helpful. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And if you have found this helpful, please consider leaving a thumbs up. Thank you very much, and take care.